All right, good morning, everybody. AJ, it's always a pleasure.
Morning, Scott.
Love being out here in the garden.
Yeah.
You know, we planted the garden, about a week ago, and planted my garden about almost 3 weeks ago, which is crazy. So here's a couple of pictures, by the way, of how my garden's doing, and I know it's way ahead of where the Fox 8 garden's doing, but the corn's up to like 15 inches. The tomato plants are growing. The only issue, if you want to call it that, some powdery mildew on the zucchini plants, but otherwise everything is just taken off, and we haven't had any heat yet.
Yeah, but we've
crazy?
had plenty of moisture, so
Yeah.
you will start to see things grow, but you were dead on, and we're starting to see it even after just being in for a week. You're starting to see the powdery mildew on
right
the zucchini here.
Mm-hmm.
So just get that copper fungicide,
Okay.
and then spray it, and then keep spraying it. So especially after every time after it rains, make sure you're reapplying it so that you can try to stay ahead of it. It's not too far gone now, but if it really starts to spread,
Right.
it's going to be a real problem for your zucchini and your cucumbers.
Okay.
Same thing. I'd probably, even though they're not showing it yet, fungicides work really well when you're ahead of the problem. You start to get behind the problem and they become a lot less effective. So I'd start spraying your cucumbers and anything else that you know really gets powdery mildew. Start hitting it now. And other than that, just make sure you're trimming, especially your herbs. If you're starting to see basil flowers or other flowers on your herbs, make sure you're harvesting, even if you're cutting them and throwing them away.
Right.
If you just
don't
let
want it to
them
go to
flower.
seed. That's
exactly.
what you don't want to do, right?
Yeah, so you want to make sure you keep them in a nice
Okay.
vegetative state.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, we're going to be talking about lawns this morning. So we're right past Memorial Day weekend. If you haven't, you want to get your Scott's 4-step down. Now, you said we're through this pattern, I hope. So the way weed feed works is you want to make sure that you apply this. It's the only one that you do this with, by the way, early in the morning or after you water the grass.
Okay.
So the grass has to be wet for that herbicide to stick to the leaves, because that herbicide only works with foliar contact. So it works with leaf contact, and then you don't want it to rain for 24 to 48 hours after you apply it. So it's a perfect time to put it down. I know the lawns look really good, but the weeds are also rampant.
Yeah.
So you want to get ahead of that. To do that, the sprays really are the best. Weed and Feed works really well. It's a great start to it, but the sprays work really well. And if you've got really difficult weeds, especially chickweed, clove oxalis, the ground ivy, this is the better one to use. So this will kill the weeds in the lawn, but not the lawn itself.
Okay.
And then you want to apply this about every 10 days until the weed problem is gone. So applying it once, it'll weaken them, but then it'll run through, and especially the tougher to kill weeds. So you want to apply that every 10 days. And same thing, you don't want it to rain for about 24 hours after you apply it, and you'll be in really good shape. And then moss is the same thing, especially with this spring.
Yeah.
With the amount of moisture we've had, if you've got shady areas, your moss is probably going crazy right now. So go ahead and spray the Moss Max down. Same thing, it won't affect the lawn, but it'll kill the moss. And then just rake that out and then overseed it with Durashade in the areas that you've got the moss over there. And then, especially with overseeding, if you didn't put down step 1, like the true crabgrass preventer, you put down step 1 for seeding, or if you didn't apply anything, you can still go through. If you've got patches in your lawn, go ahead and overseed.
So a good time
right
to
on
do
top.
this would be probably late this weekend. If there's a little shower on Saturday, you could do this Sunday.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be cool and somewhat damp in the morning, but, we're looking dry probably through at least next Wednesday or Thursday. So.
Awesome. No, so
Yeah.
this weekend, especially first thing in the morning with the
Right.
dew on the grass, you can go ahead, put that right down, and it'll be a great start. And then you can put this down after you
Okay.
put that down.
Okay.
After a couple days after you put that down.
You don't want to get it,
You don't want to wash it off right after.
Right.
So, but you'll be in really good shape.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it. AJ, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks,
I'm going to
Scott.
probably plant some sunflowers this weekend.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. See what happens here in the
They'll
next
be
couple
beautiful.
weeks. Yeah.
I mean, especially the mammoths.
Oh, I love
they get
that.
huge.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
All right. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thanks, AJ.